Welcome to Sports from the Couch.
I gotta say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
With your host, Mike Mercado.
Players cannot stand him. Coaches cannot stand him. Most importantly, the fans can't stand him.
Brought to you by Mercado Airwaves.
I'm gonna say it once, and hopefully I'm wrong, but it's a disaster waiting to happen.
That is so bad, that is absolutely brutal.
Hello, friends, and welcome into another edition of Sports from the Couch here on Mercado Airwaves. I'm your host, Mike Mercado. I want to thank you so much for making us a part of your day. It is Thursday, October 8th, 2020, which means Week 5 of the NFL season is here. And of all days, the Chicago Bears and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be on your TV screen for Thursday Night Football. So we get to do a little pregame show, and we get to do a little predictions with each and every one of you. Thank you guys for making us a part of your day. Let's take care of some housekeeping notes. I'm on Twitter at Mike M Media. I'm also on Instagram at Mike Mercado Media, and the show's on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, and shares wherever you get your favorite podcast. We're on all major podcasting platforms at Mercado Airwaves. You can produce the show, the content, the interviews. You could get them ad-free. Just visit us at patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have swag at teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Guys, thank you. I love that we get to do this each and every week. Thank you for the response that you guys have given us on youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network and on facebook.com/Mercado Airwaves. We are here live in the Mercado Airwaves studios, the TGM studios as they are endearly called here on the network. And we're going to do a little bit of a pregame show before we make our picks for Week 5 of the NFL season. And we're going to start off with this Bears versus Tampa Bay matchup. We're not going to go crazy deep into it. We know you guys all listen to the sports shows and how everything worked out. We know the basic gist of it. This is my thought process going into this game. Tampa Bay doesn't have Chris Godwin. Tampa Bay doesn't have Leonard Fournette. They're going to rely on Mike Evans. O.J. Howard is out. Rob Gronkowski is literally just a walking tree. So my question is, if you get a turnover, if there's Bears defense shows up, gets a strip fumble from Ronald Jones, able to get to Tom Brady through the middle. I'm not talking about Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Roquan Quinn, Robert Smith, any of these guys. I'm not talking about any of them. I'm strictly talking about somebody like Akeem Hicks. Up the middle, because Tom Brady gets rid of the ball really fast. One of the fastest releases in the NFL. He's not going to throw it deep and beat you with the long ball. So this Bears game is going to come down to two things: turnovers and the running game. If the Bears can keep time of possession on their side, and I don't mean the generic NFL way, if you feed the rock to David Montgomery and you're able to get a turnover here or there from Tampa Bay, with that defense, the Bears will win this game on Thursday Night Football. But if you let Tom Brady just systematically tear you apart like a surgeon, a dink here, a dip there, you are going to be in for a long, long night on Thursday Night Football. That's just the truth. And it sucks. Like, I know one of the big conversations a lot of people are talking about is to not see Tom Brady play a game in Soldier Field. Probably his last game in Soldier Field. Yeah, that sucks. But it doesn't matter. Everybody's going through something when it comes to this pandemic. I don't want to hear about the peripheral stuff, I don't even know if I said the word right. But I don't want to hear about any of that. I don't want to hear about the outside noises. This old quarterback is coming into your stadium, and you need a win. You were embarrassed last week against the Colts. You need to show up this Thursday Night Football. Nick Foles needs to do what he did in the Super Bowl and beat Tom Brady. So right now, I'm not the most confident when it comes to this Bears team, this Bears offense. I'm not. But this Tampa team will give up points. I think it's a good Tampa defense. I don't think it's this world beater. I mean, we saw them give up points to the Chargers. But you can score on them, but they're not going to just lay over for you. You're not just going to run over them. So feed the ball to David Montgomery. This offensive line needs to start moving, needs to start winning in the line of scrimmage. Period. How are you going to run any offensive scheme if you're not being honest with the run game? Or at least the defense can't be honest about it. That is going to be the biggest tale about this Thursday night football game. And I'm telling you, if Chris Godwin was playing, if Mike Evans wasn't limping around, I would be much more worried about it. But because Tampa Bay isn't going in at full strength, I think the Bears have a chance. A sip of coffee, cheers. So that's where we're at right now when I think with this Bears team. Now, it's a conversation I had on Monday's edition of Sports from the Couch. Regardless what happens in this season, I don't think Ryan Pace should be making a decision at quarterback. I don't. I don't think he's earned that right. But that's in the offseason. The here and now, you can win against a team that is on top of this NFC South division that's tough. And it's set up for you. It's not Tom Brady from 2011. This isn't the 17-0 Patriots. This is much more of a detriment towards the Bears when you're picking Tampa Bay than the other way around. I think I think a lot of people had a lot of hype going into this season about Tampa Bay with the Tampa Toms. But already into week 5, I'm not all that crazy impressed. They have weapons, and that's what it is. It's a team that has a lot of weapons. They haven't blown me out of the wire. They haven't blown my head out. So I'm kind of getting a little bit into it. I'm going to go with the Bears this week. Last week I picked the Colts. Last week I picked the Bears to beat the Colts. And even though I made an argument of why the Colts were going to win that game, they didn't do what they had to beat Phillip Rivers. I think they know going into this Thursday game on short week what they have to do. And then you have a long time off. 10 days before your next game? You need this win. The difference of 3-2 after losing 2 straight weeks the way you would have theoretically if you lose to Tampa Bay today, or going 4-1 after your Thursday night football game, the way the NFL is right now with COVID and these injuries, it's 2 totally different ways of looking at a season. I've been under the assumption that the Bears are going to go 6-10 this season. That's what I made in my preseason pick. I have not seen anything different. That this is not a 6-10, 7-9, 8-8 team. Maybe in some crazy universe they go 9-7. But I don't think it's the best looking 9-7. I don't think it's a 9-7 like if Seattle did that one year, get a home game and then win. There's not a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to be interested in, but I'm not excited to watch this Bears game. I'm excited because it's a Bears game on Thursday Night Football. But you have to win this game. Because if you don't, this becomes a dumpster fire really fast. And the defense needs to make plays. I get it. They're the best part about this team. And maybe they regress just a little bit. You can only do so much when the offense doesn't want to pick you up. But at some point, you got to make a stop. You got to get a turnover. You got to get the ball in the end zone if you're this defense. And I think the Bears need to score at least 24 points to win this game. If I were to tell you over certain years, this is what's crazy. After certain years, if I were to tell you the Bears only gave up 19 points, you would think they were going to win that game. That's always been the conversation. The bar is so low. Our standards are so low compared to the rest of the NFL fan bases. If you're a Bears fan, when it comes to how we judge this Bears team, such a low standard. In 2020, it should not be asking a lot to score 24 points in the NFL. Not when Joe Burrow is doing it. Not when rookie quarterbacks like Justin Herbert are doing it. Absolutely not. Not when Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, maybe things would have been a little bit different had you drafted them, and Lamar Jackson are out there tearing it up, winning MVPs, breaking records, getting new contracts. Let Russ cook. You know what I'm saying? Like Cam Newton walks into a brand new offense and it seems like he's known it forever. Maybe you should have looked at him too, right? And shout out to friend of the show, Tony Gill over at NBC Sports Chicago. All Nick Foles is better mids than Trubisky. They're just okay. But it seems like constantly they're making the wrong choice. So it goes to my point. Am I excited? No. Is this team exciting? No. Are they interesting? Yeah. Maybe not to national mainstream media, But to Bears fans, there's a lot of things to look into it. And this game holds so much at stake about it. 4-1 compared to 3-2. It's two different mindsets that you're going to have. Now, it could turn out Tom Brady shows up and, like we said, goes 19 for 20, 200 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Bears never touch the ball, and it's just over with. It could go that way. But I think the Bears win this game. And with that, let's start making our picks for Week 5 in the NFL season. If you are new to us here on Sports from the Couch, here on Mercado Airwaves, first of all, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Follow me on Twitter at MikeMedia, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and the show's on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. The network's also on Twitter at Mercado Airwaves. Check us out to see all the other awesome podcasts that we are working on. But if you're new to us, what we do is we make our picks and we put value on them. And then we have an entire standings of the season at the end of the year that we go through. But we also want to make a note here, due to uncertainty around the Tennessee-Buffalo game when Week 5 games posted to pick, it was excluded from the slate. So we have heard some news that the NFL has had more positive tests for Tennessee Titans. What does that mean? Do they forfeit a game? Do they play on Saturday? Do they play on Tuesday? Nobody knows. And it has made a headache for a lot of people on fantasy football and for betting and for pick'em. So we'll go ahead and we'll just pick the games that are on the slate. And like we said, I'm going to go with Chicago on this one. It looks like a lot of people are going with Tampa Bay. We'll see how the rest of the league is doing. See if we get some points on that one. I'm not super confident on the Bears, but every week I pick 1, 2, maybe 3 were upsets because it's the NFL. But also, this is the one thing I want to implement. Make sure you guys are keeping me to it. We're Week 5 in the NFL. We know what these teams are for the most part. Follow the trends. Pick the teams. Don't try to outsmart anybody. So with that, Arizona hasn't looked all that great, but it's the Jets. And I think Joe Flacco is playing this game because Sam Darnold isn't. Arizona, please. Kenyon Drake. Oh my God. For all of us, for me who traded Kenny Golladay for you before Week 4, for anybody who drafted you, please, for the God's sake, for anything that's good in this planet, do something against the Jets. Oh, dear God, please do something against the Jets. We have the Panthers versus the Falcons. Interesting, right? We're talking about know what's going on. Atlanta has a great offense. Horrible defense, willing to give up games. Carolina has been in a lot of games. I like what they've done, and without Christian McCaffrey. I think you gotta go Carolina, but Atlanta has more offense. Although Julio, Calvin going shut out, I'm gonna go with Carolina. I'll go with Carolina in this game, but we'll see. Of course, that could be a blowout, but that's one of the upsets I'll go with. We have the Bengals in Baltimore. Shout out to Joe Burrow. This is gonna be an awesome rivalry if Lamar Jackson just tightens up just a little bit of the passing game and doesn't get hit as much as hard. Joe Burrow learns a little bit of the league. That's a great rivalry right there. But I'm going to go with Baltimore in this win. We have the Jaguars taking on the Texans. Oh, boy. What is going on in Houston? I mean, you get rid of the DeAndre Hopkins. You don't have a first or second round draft pick, that is. You gave Bill O'Brien all this autonomy to do whatever he wants. And then you fire him. Look, Bill O'Brien should have been gone a long time ago. Week 4 of the NFL season. And now you're looking at 0-4, going to 0-5. I'm actually going with Houston in this game. Not because of all the change, but it's just, I think they're a better team than Jacksonville. And as much as I like Gardner Minshew, I like the story of Gardner Minshew. I don't think he's, a top 15 quarterback, and I think he's regressed just a little bit. There's a film on him. That's what we forget as fans is these guys get paid a lot of money, and once you have film on the tape, some guys can figure you out. So I'm going to go with Houston in that matchup. The Rams versus Washington. I mean, unless Alex Smith comes back, I don't care about Washington. Gibson's probably going to have a good game for them. Dwayne Haskins bench. Not just bench, but won't be on the roster, at least as an active roster member for this coming up week. They're going to have Kyle Allen starting, and then you have Alex Smith coming back from that gruesome injury. It's only a matter of time until Alex Smith is the starting quarterback in Washington, I think. The Rams obviously are going to win this game. I'm trying to think if there's anything interesting about the Rams that maybe pertain to this game other than Robert Woods and Kupp are going to go off in fantasy football. So yeah, go with the Rams easily in this matchup. The Raiders versus the Chiefs. This is the one thing. Bill Belichick always knows how to game plan for a quarterback, for a star. He's the best at it. I mean, John Gruden isn't Bill Belichick. I like Derek Carr. I like Darren Waller. I like Josh Jacobs. There's pieces in Vegas I really like. Shout out to friend of the show, Paul Shivari, who was actually just in Vegas, showed us a picture of the stadium. Chiefs are going to win this rivalry game. Not much to say. I mean, I hope it's a good game, but go with the better team. Kansas City wins this matchup. Eagles versus Pittsburgh. The Steelers are back. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this matchup. Philadelphia in first place of the worst division in football. Going to go down as one of the worst divisions in NFL history if it keeps going this way. Pittsburgh, I mean, you know, Big Ben has been healthy. Juju, you got Johnson, you got Connor. Like, this is a team that's really good. You got Eric Ebron. Like, they're a good offense. And more importantly, they're a really good defense. So I don't think Philadelphia figures it out this game against a Pittsburgh defense in Pittsburgh who hasn't been playing in a few weeks. So, yeah, go with the Steelers easily in this matchup. We have the 49ers and the Dolphins. Now, the 49ers might be getting back Raheem Mostert and Jimmy Garoppolo. And Miami, you know, Ryan Fitzmagic. It's only a matter of time until that falls the other way. They haven't been winning games, but they're going to have to travel to the West Coast. San Francisco runs the ball. They keep time of possession. San Francisco wins this game. Let's see if they get some of their starters back and start getting a little bit healthy to really beef up a tough NFC West already. We have the Denver Broncos, the New England Patriots. New England having another COVID test with Gilmore, but it looks like that was the only other one. The rest came back negative for COVID-19. Don't know how long it's going to take for Cam to come back. That's always been my question about this. If you're asymptomatic and you're testing negative, do you come back sooner? Or do you have to do the 14-day quarantine like a lot of states are doing, that a lot of government mandate is doing? I'm not too sure. I've heard a lot of different answers. Regardless, New England wins this game. Bill Belichick is not going to let Denver walk into Foxborough and beat them, especially after losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. So New England wins this game. Going to be interesting to see what happens to Cam Newton. And with that, let's take another sip of some cafecito. And let's remind you that you can please follow us on Twitter at Mike M Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and of course the show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. You can also like, rate, reviews, and shares wherever you get your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Dude, we're on all major platforms like Google and iTunes and Amazon and Spotify. So, like, check us out. It's pretty cool, and that's because of you guys. So, like, rate, review, and share us 5 stars, wherever it is, your favorite podcast at Mercado Airwaves. Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, and get some swag. Teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. Let's get back to it. We have the Colts versus the Browns. Okay, so Cleveland has this crazy game, scores a bunch of points. Odell has 3 touchdowns. Jarvis Landry is throwing touchdowns. You lose Nick Chubb. Kareem Hunt and the Ernest Johnson, right, are going off at running back. You're not asking Baker to do a lot. And then you have the Colts, maybe the best defense in the NFL right now. And Old Man Rivers, who isn't really being asked to do much, but they have a really good running game. Ooh, this is a tough one. At Cleveland, I'm going to go with Cleveland in this matchup. Simply because they have the better offense of the two. Indianapolis defense is really good. I think at some point, Cleveland is just going to keep chipping away. It's going to be a lot like what happens at Bears games. Unless Phillip Rivers finds the fountain of youth and is able to get into this gunslinging matchup against Cleveland, I think the Browns win this matchup, which is so crazy that Cleveland, we talk a lot of bad about them. We do. I do especially. I don't believe a lot of the hype. They win games, though. So I'll go with the Browns in this matchup. Giants, Dallas. Somebody has to win. Dallas, we know they're going to put up points. It's just whether or not they can stop you enough so that Dak can get the ball back. So, yeah, Zeke, huge game. Dallas wins this matchup. Please, Evan Engram, do something awesome for me, please. I would like just anything for my fantasy team. We have the Vikings taking on the Seahawks on Sunday Night Football in Seattle. I mean, the Seahawks can go to the Super Bowl and win the whole damn thing. Minnesota's trying to figure it out. I mean, Dalvin Cook is the best player on that team. Dalvin Cook's a top 5 player in the NFL, maybe. At least top 5 running back, which might equate to that. So, but that's it. I mean, I like Adam Thielen. That Minnesota defense, which was just a stalwart of defenses for so long, not necessarily the case right now. I don't love Kirk Cousins. Who does? Seems like an okay guy, but let's go with Seattle in this matchup in Seattle. And to wrap up Week 5 on Monday Night Football, we have the LA Chargers taking on the New Orleans Saints. Looks like Michael Thomas will be back. Add that to that offense. It looks like that's what Drew Brees has been missing, is a reliable number 1 wide receiver. Alvin Kamara can only get the ball so many times. Justin Herbert, we know he's going to put up points. Like, we know that's going to happen. You don't have Austin Eckler. But what happens with Joshua Kelly? We'll see. Keenan Allen, still one of the better receivers in this league. This is a really interesting game. Like, a lot of people are picking New Orleans, but I'm not going to put a lot of necessarily crazy points on New Orleans because I think the Chargers can offensively keep up with them. I think the whole thing is you're dealing with a rookie quarterback who's going to make a mistake here or there, and the Chargers just decimated by injuries, the defense as well. So I'll go with New Orleans in that matchup. But with that, guys, we've made our pick, so let's put some confidence points in this. Cheers to each and every one of you, as we are just a few hours away from kickoff of Week 5 as the Bears take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So right away, I'll go with the Cardinals. We'll put them up we'll go through them all as well. But as I'm just looking through, I like Arizona versus the Jets, so we'll put that really high up. What else is a matchup that we are feeling really confident about? I like the Rams over Kyle Allen and his Washington football team. Looking around the rest of the league, Kansas City will put up, I don't know how high they'll stay up, but we'll put them up there. Pittsburgh, the same thing. As we look around, Baltimore, the same thing over Cincinnati. And New England. It's tough to put all the points on New England because we don't know what's happening with Cam Newton. So I'm a little worried about that, but we'll have to keep our eye. So now we look at the mid-tier. What I like to do, I know a lot of people end up that way. I actually go to the bottom, and what am I not really confident about? So, Dallas versus the Giants, I'm super confident about, so we'll go ahead and put that up there. But, what am I not confident about? I'm not confident about Carolina over the Falcons, so I'll go ahead and put them a little bit lower, see if I would change that. I'm not super confident in Chicago over Tampa Bay, so I'll put them, right up there at 4. I'm a little bit more confident in Seattle beating Minnesota, so we'll put them right there. Looking around, San Francisco versus Miami. A lot of people pick them, but that doesn't give me confidence because a lot of people pick them. This is still the National Football League, so we'll keep them around the mid-tier. Same thing with Houston. Houston, I'm not that confident about. They haven't done anything to make you confident that you should be putting a lot of points in them. While I think the Chargers are going to be in this game, I still think New Orleans wins it, so I'm going to put points on them as well. Not as much as maybe Dallas. And I look at around here, and I feel pretty good about some of these picks. So I'll put Chicago a little bit higher. Just because can use a couple points, that'd be nice. But I think that pretty much does it. I'll put a couple more on Seattle right there. So let's go ahead. So we've made our picks. So I like the Cardinals over the Jets and the Rams over Washington. Pretty good. I like New England right there. I'll take Pittsburgh. I'll put Pittsburgh higher right there. As we look around, and we will recap this in just a little bit. If you're listening to us on the podcast, make sure you guys join us on youtube.com/Mercado Airwaves Network or on Facebook at Mercado Airwaves so you can see us do this, and you can see my pretty ugly face doing it. Otherwise, please like, rate, review, and share wherever you get your favorite podcast. But I'm pretty confident about this. Let's go ahead and run it down. We have 14 confidence points on the Cardinals over the Jets, 13 confidence points on the Rams beating Washington, 12 confidence points on the Steelers over Philadelphia, 11 confidence points on New England beating Denver, 10 confidence points on the Chiefs beating Vegas, 9 confidence points on Baltimore beating Cincinnati. The Giants will lose to Dallas, so I'm putting 8 confidence points on that. I have 7 confidence points on Seattle beating Minnesota, 6 confidence points on New Orleans beating the Chargers, 5 confidence points on Cleveland beating Indianapolis, 4 confidence points on the Niners beating Miami, 3 confidence points on the Chicago Bears upsetting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Tom Brady Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Thursday Night Football. I have 2 confidence points on Houston beating Jacksonville and 1 confidence points on Carolina upsetting Atlanta. And I'm looking at this right now. You know what? We're going to switch it up. We're going to put Indianapolis beating the Browns, and we're going to put as I'm looking at it, I will put Houston. I will put Chicago and Houston up 1, moving San Francisco to 3. And that is our picks for week 5 of the NFL season, our confidence picks of week 5 of the NFL season. Thank you guys so much for making us a part of your day. Let us know, who do you like this coming up week? How is your favorite team doing? Let us know your excitement of week 5. Even we'll listen to you. Let us know how your fantasy team is doing. I'm on Twitter at Mike and Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and of course, the show is on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. With that, guys, we are out of here. It is time to enjoy the next week of NFL football games. Really fast, some breaking news. Corey Crawford for the Chicago Blackhawks will not be re-signed, so his tenure here in Chicago is over. Thank you, Crow, for the Stanley Cups and all the amazing work. We'll be talking about that later on this week on Sports from the Couch. But until then, thank you guys so much for making us a part of your day. I'm on social media, Twitter, Mike and Media, Instagram, Mike Mercado Media, and the show's on Twitter at Couch Sports Talk. Like, rate, review, share us, give us 5 stars, love us on any major podcast platform at Mercado Airwaves. And of course, we have swag. Teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. We have a bunch of cool stuff. And Christmas time is around the corner. You want to be your most favorite beloved family member? Get some swag from Mercado Airwaves at Teespring.com/Mercado Airwaves. And of course, Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves, the home to our interviews with athletes and celebrities that you could get ad-free and before anybody else. We have a bunch of also awesome tiers that you can check out at Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. We're doing movie commentary, we're giving away prizes, all that and much more at Patreon.com/Mercado Airwaves. Enjoy the games, take care of yourself, take care of each other. We will see you next time here on Sports from the Couch on the Mercado Airwaves Network. I'm Mike Mercado.